we had Poteen. My father had Poteen. Back in those troubled days, it was very hard to get whiskey. Whiskey was scarce. But over 8 or 10 miles from our place was a great Poteen country. Terrific Poteen country. And they read that what they had was real good stuff. And Dad got to be a judge of Poteen. And mostly by the smell he went by. The smell of it. And he wasn't a drinker of it. He never bothered to drink the stuff, but he tasted it, like to see that it was the real McCoy. And the way what they used to do with it at the time, a man would have a keg in a bag, and he'd come down the mountain, you see. Never the road. He could be caught, so he'd come down the mountain, and he'd hide his bag in the keg above in the bushes at the top of the meadow. And then he'd come down to the bar, and when there'd be nobody there, they wait till somebody go out. He'd get a quiet chance at that, and he'd tell him that he had a keg, and he'd be interested. So Dad, if he was shocked, he'd say, yeah, bring it down, he says. But if he knew the guy, he'd pay him right there and then for it, you see. But if he was a stranger and he didn't know, and he hadn't bought from him before, he wouldn't pay him. He said, you can leave it, and the next time you come around, he said, if I like it, I said, I'll pay you for it. But if I don't like it, I'll leave it corked, he said, and take it away with you. That's the agreement. Otherwise, we don't do business. So the man left him, the monkey, this particular man, anyways. And this night, then things were quiet and everybody was gone home. And Dad, Mary was out from Westport, my sister, with Dad out in the rock at the time. It was a long time ago, and the early 20s, and because we left Westport in 1929, so it was 26 maybe or so, and she was out there 27 then. But he started to bottle the Poteen, and he didn't like the smell of it at all. Now Mary had saw him bottling other Poteen, and she just said to him, she said, Paddy, that doesn't smell like the other stuff. He says, Mary, it does not, he said. So then he tasted it. It wasn't good stuff. So he just put the stuff back into the keg again, corked it up tight, put it out of sight. And when the man came around the next time, a week later or so, he said, you take that with you, he said. I wouldn't give that to anybody, he said. That's dangerous. So he didn't deal with that man anymore. But he brought a few bottles of it into Westport. You see. And we had a neighbor. We had a neighbor that couldn't get it. But he knew from people who had got it in our house that my father did have some of it. So this neighbor, he had a pub too. He turned Dad into the authorities. The Free State soldiers had taken over in Ireland. The RIC police were gone and the Free State Army had taken over. You see, they were policing the town then. The time we had the Poteen in Westport, this neighbour turned us in. And whatever amount we had, it was all gone, you see, sold it, but somebody left down a Poteen bottle without a label, and there was a little bit in the bottom of it, less than a quarter of an inch. Why they left it down with that much in it, I don't know, but it was left down by somebody. And when the Free State soldiers came in searching for the Poteen one after it's been reported, the man in charge of them anyways, they went into the bar and there was a lot of bottles on the bottom shelf on the floor, just up off the floor on a shelf there. And he just took this bottle out of there, it wasn't the bottle with the Poteen in it. So there was enough to take a sample. So they took the sample and then it went to court. So the officer in charge anyways, he said to Dad, he said, "You were a very poor neighbour," he said. He's the one, he said, that put his wives to this. Told him straight up. Told him straight up. So Dad had to go to court anyways, and he was fined £100. You see, the only thing wrong about it was this. The government were getting no tax out of it. See, there was no tax paid. You buy the stuff and that was it. So that's the reason they had to put it down. But the fine was, he got it reduced to £25. And then he went into, before he had paid the fine, a lot of people, they advised Dad, like you'd have to do time in jail if you wouldn't pay the fine. They asked him to go to jail. You see, and they sent him all kinds of cakes and buns and stuff in there. But Dad had to go, wanted to go to Galway races with the tent. He used to go around with a tent in those days to fairs and things. But Galway races was a great spot, like he did very good there. And he went down to the courthouse to get the permit to take his tent to Galway. And the judge wouldn't give it to him until he'd paid the £25. So Dad saw, like, it was cheaper for him to pay the £25 and get the license because he used to do very good in Galway. So he paid the £25 anyway, so that was it. And then he got the license to go to Galway, so he made it up in the Galway trip. But then the funny thing about it was, he used to have this man, he used to drive a truck Dad used to hire to take his tent into Galway. Like out on the race course, you'd set up your tent with wooden poles and canvas roof and counters and all your bottles and all the rest of it. So I used to hire this truck to take him to Galway. And the local places, like you could do it with a horse and cart. But for a long run you had to get a truck, so he got this truck. And there was a man on it that I know well, but he's dead now. That man was driving the truck, and that man had seen where Dad had stuck the money into the stuff on the truck. He'd seen where he stuck the money in the bag, and threw some things on the truck for the return trip home. And what he did, he took the money and he took off for England. They left Dad in this truck and everything else there in Galway. They had to get somebody else to drive the thing home. When he searched for his money, it wasn't there. But Dad knew where it was. That man never paid him back either. Came out to this country afterwards. Never paid him back. I suppose, well, he lived longer than Dad, of course. No, did he? No, died. He died before Dad died. Yes, he did. He died young. Much younger than Dad, of course, but I expect when Dad heard he was dead, he forgave him the debt. That's my dad. And that was it.